Hello and welcome to Week in Weird, the only show where the host is so sarcastic that every line is a joke, and none of them are funny. If you're new here, the way this normally works is we go through all of the funniest headlines from the week and we read about some absurd events. Also, if you're new here, these videos usually come out on Monday. Whoops. 100-year-old man breaks Guinness World Record for working at the same company for 84 years. This article comes to us from USA Today. There's finding a career, and then there's finding a company you stick with for so long, it breaks a world record. So this guy, Walter Ortherman of Brazil, recently turned 100 years old. He started working at the company RenewView when he was 15 years old in order to help his family with some money problems. Originally, he was a shipping assistant, but quickly became a sales manager. When talking about what he calls his life's proudest achievement, that being working at the same company for 84 years, he says, "I don't do much planning, nor care much about tomorrow. All I care about is that tomorrow will be another day in which I will wake up, get up, exercise, and go to work," he said. "You need to get busy with the present, not the past or the future. Here and now is what counts." I mean, I'm not really someone to question a guy who's now lived to be 100, but I just think that there's something weird about the combination of the philosophy where people think that you should live in the here and now, and also a philosophy where your work is your life and your proudest achievement is being a corporate man. Usually these living here and now hippie type people use that as an excuse to not work and instead go on like hikes and stuff. I don't know, it's just a different culture that I don't understand. He also says when talking about being 100 years old, he says, "When we do what we like, we don't see the time go by." That makes it seem like he wants time to go faster. I don't get it. On a completely different note, Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments to start penalizing players for being smelly. I know literally nothing about Yu-Gi-Oh competitive play, but if this is anything like Magic competitive play, then yes, please God. IGN reports that Konami is cracking down on poor hygiene at its official Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG tournaments, with the implementation of a new rule that penalizes players if they or their clothes are dirty or bad-smelling. What I want to know is how are they going to be penalized? The obvious joke is that your opponent gets to draw an extra card or you lose 1,000 life points for being smelly. But I don't think the article's going to specify, because I don't think that Konami wants to specify. I'm gonna get real close to my microphone for this. The nasty rule that companies don't want you to know is that if they don't actually write in their rules the specifics of what breaks the rules or what the punishment is, then they can just make them up on the spot. That's how YouTube deals with content creators that they don't like. The article does talk about how the subjectivity of stink may lead to controversy. But yeah, apparently a lot of people are questioning exactly how this is going to be enforced. Do you just lose if you don't put on deodorant? Do they make you leave? Do you think that they're gonna have their own stash of deodorant? If they sold official Yu-Gi-Oh deodorant, do you think that would be the worst selling product ever or the best selling product ever? As a Pokemon and Magic player, it's always fun to make fun of Yu-Gi-Oh guys. Next story. I am now gonna take you back in time to 2009 to a company that no longer exists, but was part of a lot of our childhoods. THQ. In 2009, the now defunct entertainment software developer, that means video game maker, THQ commissioned a gold-plated Nintendo Wii to be delivered to Buckingham Palace as part of a marketing stunt meant to promote their new game, Big Family Games. The game contained 24 classic family games, from lawn darts to bocce. Danielle Robinson, THQ's product manager at the time, said, "Big Family Games is the ultimate Wii game to get all family members, from grandparents to young children, playing together. The royal family is arguably the most important family in the country, so we felt that they had to have a copy of the new game. But we thought that Her Majesty the Queen wouldn't want to play on any old console, so an extra special gold one was commissioned. We hope she and the rest of the royal family enjoy the game." For security reasons, the Wii was rejected at the palace and sent back to THQ. The Queen never got to play Big Family Games on the Nintendo Wii. It was a sad day for Britain. Anyway, so then the gold Wii was just kind of sitting in THQ's headquarters for a couple years until they went bankrupt in 2012. At some point, they sold it to a collector, and now, a solid 10 years later, it is back up again for auction. 2009 Nintendo Wii one-of-a-kind gold-plated console bundle commissioned for Queen Elizabeth, parenthesis, letter of provenance. So it comes with the console, comes with the Wiimote, and it comes with big family games for the Wii. These three things together are, of course, the holy grail of Wii collecting, and it can be yours currently for $3,250. There's only been 14 bids, but it's going on for another 12 days. I can definitely see that number getting significantly higher. And yes, to reiterate, it is real gold, and it is also a real Nintendo Wii. This thing that I was reading is actually from the auction listing, and the final paragraph reads, "Presented here is the ultimate Nintendo Wii collectible, commissioned especially for Her Majesty the Queen herself, for a somewhat goofy and ultimately unsuccessful marketing ploy. The Golden Wii. The console and controller are both plated in 24-karat gold. Both exhibit minor handling wear, with the controller displaying scattered chips to the gold plating. I wonder if they played Wii Sports and threw their remote. The bundle includes the console, one controller, a copy of Big Family Games, sensor bar, and all necessary cables." Oh yeah, look, you can see the damage here. It's from taking the batteries on and off. I guess that's what happens when you make a remote out of a notoriously soft metal. Whoever dropped this thing is probably, like, crying on the inside. It's probably not going to affect the value very much, given that it's literally one of a kind. Now, I waste my money on a lot of stupid stuff, but unless a lot more of you sign up for Patreon before the next week's episode, I'm not spending $4,000 on a Wii. Or am I? No, again, probably not. I do have some t-shirts for sale, and a mug with a dog on it. If enough of you buy my new merch, which should be right below the video, or sign up to my Patreon, I will bid on this golden Wii. Get to it. This next story is about people that I never really saw myself covering on my channel because I have absolutely no knowledge of them, and that would be the Kardashians. Okay, so I'm only explaining this story so much because I don't fully know the relations between these people. So, Pete Davidson is currently Kim Kardashian's boyfriend, but they've only been dating for like a couple of months. And the story is that Pete Davidson got a tattoo, and that tattoo is comprised of the first letters of the names of all of Kim Kardashian's children. And of course, Kim Kardashian's children are from a different father than Pete Davidson. Some, if not all of them, are from Kanye West. I don't really know their marriage. The Saturday Night Live star was photographed leaving the Fonda Theater in Los Angeles over the weekend with a new tattoo on his neck that appears to read KNSCP. What SCP is this? Should probably never do that again. Fans on social media have speculated that the K stands for Kim, while the other letters could be a tribute to the 4 kids Kardashian shares with Kanye West. That being North, Saint, Chicago, and Psalm. See, I knew that Northwest existed. I didn't know that they had 4 kids, and I didn't know that one of them was named Psalm. Apparently, they started dating in October of last year after she hosted SNL, so they've been together for 7 months. This is actually the second tattoo that he's gotten dedicated to her. The first one, which is also in his neck collarbone area, says, "My girl is a lawyer," which is a reference to the fact that Kim Kardashian is, in fact, a lawyer. This is seemingly the best picture we have, and so you can see it right here. KNSCP. You know what? You do you. I think everyone's sort of in agreement that there's a lot of stupid tattoos, but that some of them are art. On the topic of art, this guy turned... That was a terrible segue. This guy turned the entire pilot of the Fairly OddParents into a Twitter thread. For anyone who doesn't know the history of the Fairly OddParents, the pilot actually was a segment of a bigger show called Oh Yeah Cartoons. That was a series that Nickelodeon had where they aired short segments of random, unassociated cartoons made by different creators. And they took some of those segments and turned them into pilots for bigger TV shows. So, like in this original, Timmy looked very different. They had different voice actors, I think. And it was very unpolished. And things would change before the premiere of the actual show. So, Ladder Grape on Twitter decided that he wanted to turn this into an entire thread. So every time the animation changed or every time someone spoke, there was a different tweet. So this is the title card, and then the next title card has the credits on it, and you scroll down, establishing shot, and here we have the first shot of the actual episode, and we get the dialogue written like a script. So Dad says, "Thanks for babysitting tonight, Vicky." And then we get the reactions and the dialogue, and yes, you keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and it's the entire first episode. This is art. This is fantastic. This is why I'm on Twitter. Speaking of Twitter, you can follow me there at GIBI_Devin. If you want, you can become like these people, probably on this side, they might be on that side. These are my patrons. While my patrons' names are scrolling by, I usually like to talk about the movie that I saw this week in theaters, which was, of course, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I heard a lot of very mixed and negative things about this movie, and I have to agree slightly. I love Sam Raimi, I love Doctor Strange as a character, and I really liked WandaVision. This movie had, I'm going to say probably 2 or 3 scenes that, in my opinion, brought it down an entire letter grade. It was like an A- movie, fantastic horror elements, fantastic, probably the best, honestly, cinematography in the entire MCU. Not like the greatest script of all time, but, passable. At least there weren't any quips that ruined dramatic moments, which have a tendency of popping up in some Marvel movies. It wasn't anything super special, but it did everything competently. The problem is that there were a couple scenes that I thought were just, god-awful. Like, when there's a movie or a TV show and you cringe in a good way? This was cringing in a bad way. See, I've been thinking for a long time that I'm immune to cringe because I create so much of it, but no, this movie gave it to me. Really, I think the big reason that I dislike it is because it shows disrespect to some character arcs that have been built up over multiple movies, and even some character arcs that were started in this movie, and then had terrible endings. I just don't think it really came together. Solid B or B- movie. Better than the first one. Definitely better than the first one. But not a great movie. And with that, thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.